right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 5:30, and I'm going to call the meeting of the Paris City Council on Monday, February 26, 2018 to order. The invocation will be given tonight by Ms. Portugal, and I'll lead the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand. Dear Lord, we come with grateful hearts for our city and its residents. We ask your blessings on the work that we do here tonight. May our efforts be pleasing in your eyes. Bless our staff in their work and their comings and goings. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This brings us to the Citizens Forum. Persons desiring to address the council must limit their presentation to no more than 2 minutes unless an item is posted on the agenda. The Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the council from responding to any comments other than to refer the matter to a future agenda, to an existing policy, or to a staff person with specific factual information. Claims against the city, council members, or employees, as well as individual personnel appeals, are not appropriate for Citizens Forum. The Citizens Forum is now open. Anyone wishing to address the council, come forward, state your name and address, and address us, please.
Good evening.
Hello.
I'm Deborah Bringman, and I'm here regarding the zoning issue for parcel 50140. My parcel is 56822, which backs up to the property in question. And I do have concerns as a neighbor in the area, as this is a residential area, as the drainage from that property comes across my property. So that's my main concern.
I'll stop. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. There will be a public session on that, so you're certainly welcome to come. That's fine. You can come up now to. Anyone else wish to address the Citizens Forum at this point for any? Okay, seeing nothing, the Citizens Forum is now closed. And I'm going to give a proclamation, but I think first I need to, we're supposed to receive a presentation from Dr. Chadwick and regarding this, and then we'll read the proclamation.
Hi, I'm Angela Chadwick. I'm the CTE director at Paris ISD, and I brought some students and some teachers with me, and the students here want to share with you just a little bit about what CTE means to them.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us here today. I'm Grace Ham. I'm a photography student. I'm going to introduce who's with me. This is Maria. She is a automotive technology student. This is Kira. She is a robotics and engineering student. And over here is Hannah, and she is an education and training student.
By now, I am sure you know that February is Career and Technical Education Month. We wanted to share with you briefly why we believe CTE is important to the health of our community. 600,000 current number of high-skilled manufacturing jobs that will remain unfilled due to a lack of skilled labor.
Meet what has become known as the skills gap. There appears to be surplus of jobs waiting to be filled, and not enough people yet trained to fill them. Yet our employment rate continues to hover around 7.7%, and America's jobless are becoming increasingly frustrated and scared.
Okay, the gap average of skilled workers is 56 years of age. By 2030, 79 million people will have retired, while only 41 million new workers will enter the workforce.
So I'm Maria, as y'all know, I'm in automotive, and I've been in Skills and TAFE, I've been in Skills USA, and I believe those groups are very, a good way to get you ready for your career, any kind of career you want, like automotive, teaching, engineering, photography, careers that needs skills, technicality. That's what Skills USA does. Taffy focuses on the educational part of your career. So if you want to go in education with students or anything, that's what you do. I'm in both of those, and I compete, and so, yeah.
Hi, my name's Grace, and I'm a photography student, and I've been in Skills USA for 3 years, and it has helped me and confirmed what I want to do for when I go on to the workforce, and it's a great program to let students try out what they want to do.
Hi, I'm Hannah, and I'm an education and training student, and Taffy has taught us many things, but most of all, it has taught me leadership.
Hi, I'm Kira. I'm a robotics and engineering student, and through the classes that I've taken, I basically have the fundamentals that I need to be prepared in college. So I'm going into electrical engineering in college at Embry-Riddle in Daytona Beach, Florida.
And this is just a small part of our career and technical education program at Paris ISD, and we just wanted to share that with you. Thank you.
Thank y'all very much. I'll then read the proclamation, and then I'll hand it to y'all. This is a proclamation designating the month of February 2018 as Career and Technical Education Month. Whereas Career and Technical Education offers students the opportunity to gain the academic, technical, and employability skills necessary for true career readiness, and whereas students in career and technical education programs participate in authentic, meaningful experiences that improve the quality of their education, increase their engagement and achievement, and whereas career and technical education provides students with career exploration opportunities earlier in their educational experience, which enables them to make informed and beneficial decisions about their academic coursework, as well as pursue established programs of study and career pathways, and whereas career and technical education prepares students for these and other fulfilling careers by offering integrated programs of study that link secondary and post-secondary education and lead to the attainment of industry-recognized credentials, and whereas the Smith-Hughes Act, the first act of Congress to provide funding for career and technical education, was signed into law 101 years ago and allows us to celebrate how far CTE has to become a powerhouse of America's economy. And now, therefore, I, Stephen J. Clifford, Mayor of the City of Paris, Texas, by the authority vested in me, do hereby declare the month of February 2018 as Career and Technical Education Month in Paris, Texas, and urge all citizens to become familiar with the services and benefits offered by the career and technical education programs in this community, and to support and participate in these programs to enhance their individual skills and productivity. All right, this brings us to the consent agenda. Does anyone have anything on the consent agenda that they wish to remove for additional discussion? And I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as written.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Next item is item number 14, conduct a public hearing, discuss and act on an ordinance considering the petition of Robert Russell for a change in zoning from a commercial district C to a commercial district with a specific use permit 52 self-service warehouse, city block 315A, lot 1, ABST 208, Crow Survey, 3.52 acres, located at 4605 Lamar Avenue. Mr. Frizzy.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. This item was heard recently by the Planning and Zoning Commission. It required a specific use permit. The applicant has an existing business on the front end of the property. The rear portion of the property is proposed for mini storage warehouses. The staff reviewed that and made a recommendation for approval. The Planning and Zoning Commission also approved it. There is a listing in your memo of the conditions that the staff recommended in support of this proposal to enhance the property itself and also to protect surrounding properties. The applicant has agreed to all of these. Staff recommends that the council approve this. Be pleased to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? All right, I'll open the public hearing on this. Anyone wishing to come up and address the council in favor or in opposition to this, please come forward. And state your name and address.
I'm Robbie Russell, 51050 Old Clarksville Road. I am the owner of 4605 Lamar Avenue. We're just looking to improve the property, the northern acre and a half, with some mini storage building. It's currently just an empty property. A great location, great service to the area. Most of the mini warehouses seem to be full in the area, so be happy to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Any questions for Mr. Russell?
Thank
Okay, thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Any discussion on the council? Make a motion that we approve this. I'm sorry. Got to close the public. Anyone else wishing to talk? The public hearing is now closed. Any discussion then? All right, I'll make a motion we approve this zoning change.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Item number 15, conduct a public hearing, discuss and act on an ordinance considering the petition of Amanda Scott on behalf of Alex Outdoor Advertising LP for a change in zoning from Planned Development District AF-PDAF to Planned Development District AF-PDAF with a specific use permit, tattoo shop for a permanent makeup salon on lot PT1 SSLA Commercial Edition located at 2775 Northeast Loop 286. Mr. Fruzy.
Well, thank you. This also requires a specific use permit. The amendment that we submitted to you also includes a definition. It's a relatively new use in the cosmetic industry. The closest component would be the tattoo shop. We included the specifics in relationship to that. This is, in fact, a permanent tattoo in the sense that it's a permanent marking on the body. It's not a tattoo. It's limited to the face only, and the applicant understands that we would not allow nor recommend tattooing of any other part of the body. And also it's limited to the only suite in this building, which has a complex of suites, and also any other state, federal, or local requirements or licensing requirements also have to be included as part of the condition. The Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommended approval, as did the staff. No one spoke either in favor of or in opposition to, and we understand that there is a market for these kinds of uses. We recommend that the council approve this. Please to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions?
Did you say there's other tenants in that building?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's a suite of buildings. Yes.
Okay.
So we wanted to limit it not to the whole building, just to her suite.
Mm-hmm.
And the as we typically do, we asked the applicant, "Are you okay with this?" And she agreed that all of these conditions she will conform to.
Yes. All right. I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor or in opposition to this, please come forward. Seeing no one, I will now close the public hearing. Any discussion on the council regarding this item? It's pretty straightforward. I'll make a motion that we approve this zoning change.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sounds good. Item number 16, conduct a public hearing, discuss and act on an ordinance considering the petition of Zachary Michael for a change in zoning from agricultural district A to multiple family dwellings, MF1 for duplex, triplex, or quadruplex rental properties on West Askins Survey Tract 80, located at 5040 Farm Road 195.
Thank you. This property, of course, is along the corridor extending northeast from the city. The area is characterized by existing larger lot single-family homes. There, in the immediate area, are no multiple family or duplex or triplex or quadruplex uses. The future land use plan recommends low-density residential along the 195 corridor where the subject property exists on both sides of 195. That's compatible with the existing use. The staff, with all due respect to the applicant, recommends denial. The Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommended denial as well. We just feel this is a highly inappropriate use for the existing and proposed character of that area. Be pleased to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? I understand since Planning and Zoning rejected this, it would take
Yes, sir.
6 affirmative votes to pass this, which we couldn't possibly do tonight, but 2 votes will in fact kill it, so.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor or in opposition of this, please come forward.
My apologies to
Oh,
all
it doesn't matter.
for earlier, but the parcels, as I said, are close together. That area is zoned for family, single living, and it affects all of my neighbors. And we would much appreciate to keep it zoned as it is today. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak, please come forward.
My name is Peggy Jack, and I am very much opposed to that becoming a multifamily residence out.
What's your
where it's
address?
gonna
ma'am?
be. My address is 7142 Heather Lane, and I'm in the Club Country Estates. And I just very much oppose changing that area because there is nothing like it anywhere around. It's all single-family homes up and down 195 in the little neighborhoods and everything. So I hope and pray that y'all will help us with this.
Thank you.
I'm Jim Crisp, and my home is on 195. There's 2 properties between me and the proposed zoning change. I'm 600 feet from the zoning change. I moved to Paris to live in a quiet, upscale neighborhood, and lived here in the 50s, and I came back 5-6 years ago. It's the only place I'd retire in. I spoke with some people with the city, and they said that I asked about the city limits being extended, and it was extended 12 to 15 years ago. I don't have a particular date. And I asked why they extended the city limits, and the answer was so they could control what went in there. Prior to that time, the property was in the country. And we look forward to the council making a decision to reject it. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mayor Clifford and members of the City Council, good evening, and first of all, thank you for serving our community and for your efforts to make it a better place for us to live and raise our families. My name is Mary Beth Burns, and my husband and I reside at 7033 Heather Lane. The property is in consideration today, borders the back of our property, and we are opposed to any change that would allow multifamily housing. At this time, can I have a show of hands of everyone else who's here who's also opposed to this? We have a lot of people sick, myself included, just getting over, so finally I have a voice. But the notification letter that we received from the city stated that the zoning change requested was from agricultural, allowing a single home, to MF1, allowing a duplex or triplex. We were shocked at the planning and zoning meeting when Mr. Michael spoke of his plans to build 7 housing units on this lot, which is not even a full acre in size. His plans were to build a triplex and a quadplex. Apparently, this zoning change would even allow a multi-story apartment complex on the property. Mr. Michael's stated reason was a shortage of rental housing in Paris. Paris may or may not have a shortage of rental housing, but we believe allowing him to build this project on this land would be a terrible mistake, and the P&Z Commission must agree with us because they voted unanimously against the zoning change. We moved to our home when our small children with our small children 24 years ago because we wanted peace and quiet and space for our children to roam and play. Our lot is a little under 3 acres, and we like our neighborhood, especially since people are not right on top of each other. Quite a few of the homes in our area have an acre of land. Our neighborhood was not even in the city limits until Paris annexed it a number of years ago. We have multiple concerns, including not enough room for a project this size. 7 units plus parking spaces would probably completely cover the land. There is no street parking on Highway 195, so you'd need a lot of parking spaces. And we're concerned about noise, traffic, crowding, and crime with lots of people coming and going. And as someone else mentioned, there is no other multifamily housing anywhere in the area, and we don't want to set a precedent for putting multifamily housing in our area. There are plenty of other places in the city where this type of project would be a good fit. In fact, I was speaking with city staff who told me that the city's even giving away vacant land, waiving building permit fees, et cetera, to encourage development. And so we would encourage Mr. Michael to look into that for his project. One of the major concerns of all of our neighbors is potential loss of property value. I grew up in a real estate family, and all I ever heard about was the 3 L's: location, location, location. People buying homes usually don't want to live next door to a gas station, a fire station, a convenience store, apartment complex, et cetera. And housing near those types of things sells for quite a bit less. So putting multifamily housing next to our properties would most likely lower our home values. And tonight I have 38 signatures on letters of my neighbors who are all opposed to this zoning change, which I'd like to give you. And thank you again for your time and your consideration of our concerns.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to address the council on this public hearing?
My name is Larry Carney, and I live at 7015 Windy Drive. I'm within 200 feet of where they want to build supposedly 7 units. That's an awful lot of concrete, and I oppose it. I don't know where all their drainage is going to go with the water or what kind of septic system they're going to put in, but I oppose this 100%. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to address this? Seeing no more, I'll close the public hearing. Yes, it's a pretty easy decision for me. This is the spot zoning, and there would make no sense to do this whatsoever. So anybody else have any comments on this?
Well, I'm especially concerned because they are my constituents in this district, and it just does not seem appropriate to put multifamily in the middle of single family, and especially since they are generous sized lots, 3 acres, Mary Beth mentioned, and I feel like this is very crowded to put 7 units plus parking spots on 1 acre.
Any other discussion? I make a motion that we reject this zoning change.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's rejected. Thank you all for coming. Item number 17, receive presentation, discuss and act on a resolution supporting the implementation of Joining Forces, a joint land use study.
Thank you, Mayor. Very briefly, the major purpose of the joint land use study is to protect the mission of military bases in North Texas in conjunction with addressing potential incompatible land use considerations at or near the boundaries of these bases. We have here this evening representatives for the North Central Texas Council of Government, Mr. Dan Kessler, who is Assistant Director of Transportation, and Amanda Wilson on the staff. Further, the Council of Governments requests that not only the city of Paris, but a number of other jurisdictions in North Texas approve a resolution in support of the joint land use study and its findings, and the staff supports that wholeheartedly. At this point, I'd like to invite Mr. Dan Kessler to come to the podium and speak in more detail regarding this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Mayor Clifford, members of the council, City Manager Godwin. Thank you for your time this evening. We won't take a lot of it. We realized early on that this was a project that would be unique. In fact, I spent quite a bit of time with your city manager talking about what we're doing, how this may or may not impact your community, but we think there are some opportunities here, and we want to bring those to you tonight. Before I do want to start, I want to just mention to you, you have a tremendous gift in your presence. I have been at the North Central Texas Council of Governments for 37 years, and I don't know when it was, about 32 years ago, I had the opportunity to work with Alan Effersey. And so when I came to the first project meeting and realized I was going to get an opportunity to work with Alan again, it was a huge surprise and an honor. There's literally, I don't know any individual in our profession who has more passion about doing things right than Alan. I have no idea how he continues to do it. It is amazing. He played a really key role in this project, and we really appreciated all his input. He is also a veteran, and I think that gave him an extra amount of passion about what we're trying to accomplish. But Alan, thank you for all you do, your friendship, your professionalism, your support for the project. You're one of a kind. I really appreciate you. Joining forces is aligning community and military missions is exactly what this is. Joining forces is about this idea of bringing community and our military together in North Texas to align our community and military missions. This is a project that was funded by the U.S. Department of Defense Office of Economic Development. This is a group in Washington that funds these types of projects, but the basic premise of this work is to try to ensure that military installations can grow and do what they need to do, and communities can grow and they need to do what they need to do, and that we're basically, as it said, aligning our missions, that they work well together, that there's good communication between the military installations and our local governments. Our initial effort was originally targeted towards a project I'll speak to a minute ago, which was focused on Naval Air Station Joint Reserve Base Fort Worth, formerly Carswell. And as we began our conversations with the Department of Defense, they said, you know, we have not done this anywhere else in the country, but we would like for you to expand the mission of this study and look at other military installations in North Texas. And when they said Paris, we said, wow, Paris that's a ways from Arlington. But the reality is that all these installations are interrelated. We did approach Arctex, the COG here, which is the COG for your region, and certainly got their cooperation to do planning work in their area of study. Our metropolitan area does actually expand all the way into Hunt County, and in fact, the Paris district located here, the Paris TxDOT district, is part of our metropolitan planning area. So we do quite a bit of work to your neighbors to the south, but we were excited about this opportunity. We fell in love with Paris. You have an awesome community here. And I spent a lot of time in East Texas bass fishing, so it was no surprise to me. The first slide talks about economic impacts of military installations. They are substantial. It is one of the principal reasons why our staff, and I have Amanda Wilson here with me. Amanda's our program manager over public involvement, and she also oversees our military base planning activities. But economic impacts of military bases in Texas is huge. I won't go through all these statistics, but you can see they are really substantial. When we look at for example, the overall number of jobs in Texas, over 800,000 jobs are related to major military installations. You can see $136 billion of annual economic activity across major installations. One of the numbers that I always talk about, we don't have on this chart, is that in 2015, the U.S. Department of Defense spent $38 billion in Texas. They spent over half of that money in North Texas. And so we are a major military community, even reaching as far as Paris. The other thing to remember is the face of our military is changing. It is no longer a military just made up of enlisted personnel. It is largely serviced today by the reserve units. In fact, Texas 2 years ago, I believe now, actually became the largest location for reserve soldiers anywhere in the country. We passed California, and there are now approximately 30,000 reservists serving in Texas. And the thing that's changed about those reservists And quite frankly, they no longer reservists. They are becoming highly trained, and they are in fact deployed for military operations all over the world. And so we see that the reserve units play a larger and larger role. So when we started to have these conversations about updating which was our original joint land use study that was done in 2006 through 2008 for Naval Air Station Joint Reserve Base, that's when the Department of Defense said, you know, we'd like for you to reach out to a number of the reserve facilities in North Texas. And that's what we did as part of this project. You can see from this slide, this was our first venture into a joint military endeavor. In fact, Carswell was a strategic base command that was actually closed by BRAC in 1992. Fortunately, we were able to get the base reopened. It was actually a smaller geography, but we were able to get the base reopened. It is a major military installation now. It holds home to over 44 different base commands. It sits next to Lockheed Martin. It is a major military installation for the Navy and all the other branches of the military. A lot of major deployment happens in and out of NASJRB. But a lot of the training that we actually have going on in North Texas occurs here in Paris at Camp Maxey, but also in Fort Walters out in Mineral Wells, and then some other facilities scattered across the Metroplex. One of those is Redmond Taylor, which is another. It's actually a guard facility that houses the Chinook helicopter squadron. They're very strategic in their importance. They're largely deployed, but it is part of the study that we've done. There were a whole series of strategies that we focused on as part of that original JLU study. Most of those strategies have been implemented, but one of the most remarkable things that came out of that process, and what we were actually about here tonight and trying to expand, is building relationships between the military bases and the surrounding communities. We have something called a Regional Coordination Committee that includes the city of Fort Worth and 7 surrounding communities around NASJRB. We meet quarterly. There is a lot of terrific interaction that happens about what's happening in the way of development, economic development, various planning issues related to stormwater and all kinds of things that we address. But it's been a very successful venture, and it's something that we're certainly interested in promoting around our other military installations. This particular map shows our study area. You can see Camp Maxey, of course, is just about 8 miles north of Paris. As you get into the Metroplex, you can see the facilities that I talked about, specifically Redmond Taylor, which is the former NAS Dallas site that was also closed as part of base realignment and closure. In fact, that installation is what was moved to Fort Worth. You can see all the way out into Mineral Wells, where we have Fort Walters, which is also a small arms munitions training facility, very much like Camp Maxey, very similar in scale and operation. And then all the way down to the southwest, you see an area called our Brownwood Brady MOA, Military Operations Area. This is where a lot of our aircraft training takes place out of NASJRB and for other military installations with various air responsibilities associated with each of the bases. Our study area, of course, for this particular part of the study was Camp Maxey and the area surrounding it. One of the things that was really interesting in that every one of these military installations have challenging properties close to them. In this case, we have Pat Mays, which sits directly adjacent to the military installation. That creates interesting challenges that we have in terms of hunters and trespassers and folks that are just curious about what's going on at the military base. Similar to the situation we have at NASJRB, which sits on Lake Worth, you have a lot of folks that can access the base property via water, and that creates a unique set of challenges for the military and how to patrol those areas and make sure that they keep people out of where they don't need to be. And so you'll see that that's one of our recommendations as part of our study, is to work closely with the folks at Pat Mays and Texas Parks and Wildlife and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to basically see if we can't harden that boundary between the lake and the training facility. The last thing we need is hunters hunting on the base, particularly when there's small arms training, and some of that does go on. We've got documented cases where folks found ways to get through the fence and do all kinds of things that they don't need to be doing in an active military area. But again, this map shows the geography. We did reach out to the community. We had, from time to time, I think we interacted with most of these folks. I'm not sure we ever had a meeting where we had everyone here, but we did have a lot of successful meetings and a lot of good discussion among folks with the city and the county, and the Architects COG folks were very involved in the project. Captain David Merrill, who's the base commander, was highly involved in it. Of course, I mentioned Alan, and as well as TxDOT. Those folks were there with us. So we had a good policy structure. We had a whole series of meetings where we came out to your community over the last year and a half to go over various ideas. A lot of work came out of this project. We were actually quite surprised at the number of issues that we had, both around Camp Maxey and Fort Walters. Many of them mirror each other. There was actually 150 individual strategies identified through this planning process. There were 30 strategies specifically identified for Camp Maxey, and I'll highlight some of those key ones. One of the things that we found throughout all our communities, and it was absolutely the case in East Texas in the Paris community, was tremendous support for the military mission and the base itself. That was very rewarding to see from our public meetings how much support we got from your community. I talked about this idea of establishing more formal communications between the city, the county, the base, other installations, TxDOT, that we think there's an opportunity to do that. And of course, we'll talk about some of the issues associated with aviation and security. There are a couple key issues about aviation and military operations that are really critical right now. There is opportunities for us to do more aircraft operations at Camp Maxey, whether it be through Chinook helicopters or Black Hawk helicopters. There's a lot of drop training and other kinds of things that the military is very interested in doing. But there are several things that are really going on that are critical. One of those is the issue of drones or unmanned aircraft. This is a very complicated issue. It's one of the most difficult issues I've actually ever been involved in that this is an area where the technology has grown very fast. Recreational drone users can go to Walmart and purchase a drone for $200 that can go thousands of feet up in the air. It's an area that the FAA is trying to get its arms on regulating, but has not done very well, quite frankly. The state of Texas, honestly, has not done us any favors in that we have been working in the Dallas-Fort Worth region for 4 years. I would love to be able to hand you an ordinance that would allow the city of Paris to tell folks where they could and could not fly a drone in Paris, and particularly around your airport, which is obviously a valuable economic asset to this part of the region. But we quite frankly don't have that. That is a very complicated issue. We're continuing to work with the state legislature on. In our office today, we even met with the director. We are about ready to launch on another drone UAS task force. I'll certainly invite representatives from Paris and their aviation facility if you'd like to join us. But as a region, we're going to try to continue to work together on this issue, but we have not solved it. And a lot of people thought, well, maybe this isn't that big of an issue. And the fact of the matter, I don't know if you saw in the paper several weeks ago, we actually had a drone land on NASJRB tarmac. It was discovered by an F-16 pilot as he was taxiing back to his parking location. It's pretty well established that a drone like that could probably bring down an F-16, or if not, do a lot of damage to that type of aircraft. And this is not just a unique circumstance where more and more we're seeing them, for some reason, folks associate with flying a drone around an airport is a good place to do it. And in fact, it's really not. And so there's a lot of work we're doing on drones and UAS, and there's recommendations that come out of this. I hope to bring you someday a model ordinance that you could adopt that would tell people where they could and couldn't fly those in your community. The other issue is one that is not particularly relevant yet for East Texas, but I think it may become eventually. We have it in West Texas. That is the issue of wind turbines. Anytime now that we get a large collection of wind turbines, which are hundreds of feet, 400 or 500 feet in the air, when you get a group of them together, they basically make radar unusable. They block out radar that can be used by aircraft. And we've already got a number of situations across the state, particularly in South Texas. There's a battle going on in Corpus now where the wind energy industry has located some of these wind turbines near strategic air facilities, and it's really creating some problems. One of the things the legislature did do for us in the last session was they took away the economic development incentive for the air industry if they located in proximity to an aviation facility. But that's an area where there's a lot of confusion, and we need a lot more leadership from our federal government on how to handle that issue. But that's certainly an issue that we're currently looking at very closely. Quickly wrapping up, we came up with a series of recommendations that I'll just quickly highlight for you. I've talked about some of those. One of the issues we currently have at the base at Camp Maxey now is any time that there are GA traffic flying over the base, they have to stop operations. Obviously, it's a small arms training facility. The likelihood, while slim, would not be good to have a small aircraft be involved in training that they're doing in terms of ammunitions. And so there's some work that we think needs to be done on a better communication system with FAA, our GA pilots, and facilities about staying further away from Camp Maxey. That's certainly an issue for us. I talked about formal channels of communication. That's a subject that we'd love to continue to talk to you all about. How do we set up a process where the city and the county and the base can have regular communications about the things that are going on and opportunities that I'll talk more about. But we think there's opportunities to do that, even if it was just once a year on an annual basis. We think that would be a valuable exercise. I talked about security and trespassing issues. This is an area that we're going to continue to explore. One of the things that's been interesting is the Department of Defense has already looked at our project and asked us to consider submitting a grant for implementation dollars. This is not something we've ever done. But this is one of the topics that we will certainly look at with the DoD. Is there additional funding that we could look at that would help us provide better control over this issue of trespassing? It might be better fencing, better signing, better technology. There might be better ways that we could approach this subject. I've talked about aviation hazards. You know, the UAS issue is also not only a safety issue, it's also a privacy issue. The military is not particularly interested in folks flying UAS over military installations while they're doing training with cameras. Most of these drones have cameras, and they're fairly sophisticated for the price. And so that's something that we're certainly interested in. The City of Paris actually has an easement road across the facility that is used for maintenance of a water intake facility on Pat Mays. That creates some unique challenges in terms of how that road is accessed by who and at what times of day. We think or what times of year and day. There are some opportunities we think there for better communications. Nobody's talking about taking away your access there, but there may be an opportunity to improve that. One of the big issues that we're working with, and Alan is very intimately familiar with this, is the challenge we have in the state of Texas in that counties have virtually no control over land use and development authority. And unfortunately, a lot of the development that we see happening around our military installations is in the county unincorporated areas where the counties essentially have no ability to control that land use. We're working with the legislature to see if we can't get more jurisdictional authority for counties, at least as it comes into impact military installations. And then finally, and the one that quite frankly I think is the most exciting and really one of the reasons why we're here to follow up with you tonight, is this idea of economic development opportunity. We do think there is an opportunity if we can look at what we need to do to expand the mission of the training at Camp Maxey. Actual use, and you can see in our statistics from 2012 to 2017, there was a 67% increase in the utilization of the base. So the facility is being used. I think it will continue to grow in its use, but one of our limitations about it is some of the issues on encroachment and some of the boundary issues that affect what is the level of munitions and training that can be done there. And so we will actually be in Austin. Amanda and I will be in Austin in early April to talk to the head of the Texas Military Department about what constraints there are at Camp Maxey for expansion of their mission. But in the event that we can continue to grow their mission, we do think there are economic development opportunities associated with that for the city of Paris and the surrounding communities, whether it be restaurants, hotels, tourism, other things that we can do. Another area that I think there is an opportunity to do with these military installations is to combine their use with a lot of police and security types training. We think there's an opportunity at all our military installations perhaps to better utilize this facility to do police training. There is some informal arrangements going on. We think there could be opportunities to formalize some of this. An example would be we don't necessarily need a lot of communities building gun ranges if in fact we can do that gun training for our police folks on military installations. And a lot of that just basically comes down to communication. Out of this project came a lot of resources, and this is something that, again, that Alan was stressed for us, that we followed through on. There's a lot of information, a lot of technical guidance, a lot of ideas, concepts that are documented as part of our technical report that we're certainly making available to the city and to the military and all those that are interested in this issue. I talked about this idea of UAS ordinances. There's other things we're doing for local governments in terms of an overlay zoning ordinance. That's something that the city of Fort Worth has done that's been very successful around NASJRB, and a lot of other tools, whether it be energy or drones or other types of information that we've included in the document. So we're here tonight really to get your endorsement of our findings. I don't think, I have a dual role. I am also a transportation planner, and I've done that for a number of years, and so we also look at this from the perspective of the cities. I don't think I'm putting anything in front of you that would be inconsistent with the growth opportunities or opportunities for improving the city of Paris. And so I don't feel like we are putting something in front of you that would necessarily be a burden, but we do think it's important for the local governments around the military bases to consider these options. As I said, we will be seeking grant funding for implementation strategies. We'll continue to work with your community and the Architects COG on implementation funds. And then, of course, there's always our emphasis on our priority towards transportation and mobility projects. And we've, in fact, identified some transportation needs between here and the base, as well as the entrance to the base, where we feel like there could be better signing. And we're working with TxDOT about opportunities to improve some of the base access and safety issues there. So that concludes my presentation. I certainly appreciate your time and attention. I'd be happy to answer questions that you might have.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions? I appreciate the presentation and,
Thank you.
The work y'all are doing. I understand we're going to consider supporting this resolution that supports the joining forces, and I certainly am in favor of this. I notice most of this is voluntary cooperation anyway. There's nothing. It's just
No requirements. It's
we're in favor
volunteer.
of what you're doing, and we want to work with you. Is kind of what we're saying.
You bet, Mayor.
Well, I make a motion that we approve this resolution supporting joining forces.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, Mayor, I just want to echo Dan and Amanda and the rest of your staff. Thank you very much. Just to clarify, these folks work for the North Texas COG out of Arlington. We're not part of their area. Our own local COG doesn't have the resources or the abilities to do this. So they felt like, that we were important. Camp Maxwell enough was important to include in their study. So we appreciate that. And as you know, it's not easy to come from Arlington out here. They didn't armchair it. They came out here, multiple meetings, long meetings. They took it very seriously, so I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time and the work
I
you've
tell
done
you,
on this.
We fell in love with Paris, so if you ever want to join us, we'd love to have you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, item number Item number 18, discuss and act on the 2018 plan of work for street bond reconstruction. John, you want to?
Yes, sir. This is the same plan you've seen before. We adopted it about this time, well, not this, last summer, I guess, after the bond election. And these are the streets graphically shown. The streets in red were the ones that you approved for us to begin on immediately. As you probably know, East Cherry is done, has been for a while. Northwest 7th is essentially done. They've got some manhole valve covers work that they need to do up there. At least a week or two ago they still did. And then 3rd Street right here and 7th Southwest right here are substantially done. The concrete work is substantially done. Sidewalks, curbs, gutters. But because of weather and a conflict with Atmos, we're supposed to pave next week, week after. So those are really close to being done. And so tonight, what we're here for is to ask you to approve the second group of projects. And then also if there's other projects that you want to add to it, or if there's anything on the list the overall list you want to subtract. And then, oops, went too far. And these are the 6 streets. Of course, Church Street was kind of a 2-year project. Last year, what you approved was to hire an engineer for Church Street. We have. They're working assiduously on that project. We had a public meeting, neighborhood meeting, open house one day last week. It was pouring down rain, so we only had 8 people. But that project is supposed to begin construction probably this May, June timeframe. And of course, it's a full depth construction, new sidewalks, mostly new sewer lines, a little piece of a new water line. We're sure not still exactly sure what we're going to do on street lights. But anyway, it'll be a very high-quality project. It'll make a big impact on that. The other 5 projects that have not begun yet, Graham Street from 3rd Northwest to 11th, and let me just, which is right here. And then 33rd Street from Lamar to Clarksville. That's one we've talked about. It'd be kind of nice if we were rich to do a full overlay on that, a full replacement, full depth replacement. And we'll do a little bit. We'll kind of go back and do some in-house work. We did some of that over on when we did the streets off of Bottom a year and a half ago, where we'll with in-house come back and try to fix any soft spots along the way, but do the mill and overlay on this street, and then also on 17th. Those 3 streets, Collegiate, 33rd, and Graham. I said 17th, but I mean Graham. Collegiate. Those will be all mill and overlay or mill and in-lows, you may hear. Most of that engineering we'll do in-house. Carla Easton will do most of that. She did the engineering on the other 4 projects, not Church Street, but these other 4, probably in-house depending, although she's fairly busy most days. Those projects will go fairly quickly. We'll do those this summer, hopefully when the weather's dry. And then projects 8 and 10, 17th and 24th. Those are full depth projects, and those will require us to hire an engineer. And I mentioned we're actually actively Carla has been off and on negotiating with a specific engineering firm we'd like to use for those 2 projects. One of the things about those 2 projects is because obviously you can see there, as well as probably in your mind if you use that part of town much, is they run parallel. So what's going to happen is if you close number 8 there, if you close 24th Street, people are more likely to use Collegiate or 17th as their north-south route. So you don't want to close all 3 of them at the same time. So we'll kind of spread those out so that they kind of go one behind the other. So if it looks like, well, why don't they go ahead and knock them all out? We're doing that on purpose. So we'll spread those out so that they're all going at the same time. So anyway, if you have any questions about any of that, let me know. But the main 2 things we're after is we're asking you and recommending that you approve those 5 streets, 6 streets, counting Church. Obviously, we'll finish Church. Those 5 streets that are in blue there, so that we can we'll move forward on those. And then if you have any streets that you want to add or any streets that you want to take out of there, since we started the deal around the election time, we've added this chunk of Stillhouse, which has gotten a whole lot worse since we had monsoon season last week. And then also at Ms. Drake's request, we added the rest of Collegiate here. Now these projects that are in yellow that are listed as unfunded, we're hoping 2 or 3 or half of those will get funded. The budgets the city engineer put together have been very conservative, so we want to make sure we have enough money, and we're hoping we have left over. So the fact that they're currently unfunded, we're hopeful that many of those will get done. Those will become 2020 projects if we have the money, but we want to get the ones done first that we know are our top priorities. So that's all I have. Sorry.
Any questions for John or anything they want to discuss?
I just have a comment, and one of them was about the Church Street residents meeting. I couldn't go because I was infirmed, but Carla, I heard that it was excellent meeting, so congratulations on that. The other comment, I spoke with some of you about this. Since Council Member Drake couldn't be here today, she asked that we maybe look back on some of the minutes where Mr. Don Wilson came and spoke to us about some specific streets that he had in, that he would like to see added to this, and she wondered if we can look those up. I think one of them was the North Collegiate from Lamar to the Loop, which is on this list. And I think the other one might be 31st Street.
31st Street. And 31st is a very bad street. We didn't have it on the initial list because it's not as much a collector street, but we can sure add it to the list. Be happy to do that.
For consideration, that would be great. Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Any other discussion on this or questions? So you're needing a motion to proceed on with these 6 streets, is that correct?
Yes, sir. So moved.
Okay, I'll second. All in favor? Aye. Sounds good. And item number 19, future events for the city council. Anyone have any future events they want to discuss or bring up for future meetings? If not, we'll move to item number 20, adjournment. Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?